The paper lantern sat in my hands, delicate as a promise. I was supposed to write a wish on it before sending it into the night sky, but all I could think about was the last time I'd held one of these. 25 years ago, different city, different life, same wish written in careful letters. Find me again, Jennifer. My name's Rebecca Martinez, and I'd come to the Lantern Festival in Albuquerque on a whim. Well, not exactly a whim. My daughter, Emma, had been pestering me for weeks. Emma's 20, and blunt in the best way. Mom, you never do anything fun anymore. When's the last time you went somewhere that wasn't work or the grocery store? She had a point. Since the divorce 2 years ago, I'd fallen into a routine that looked a lot like hiding. Work at the dental office, home, repeat. Weekends were for laundry and meal prep and pretending I was too busy to feel lonely. But something about the festival had caught my attention. Maybe it was the photo in the newspaper, hundreds of lanterns floating against a dark sky like wishes made visible. Or maybe it was the date. October 15th, the same date Jennifer and I had made our promise all those years ago. The festival grounds at Balloon Fiesta Park were already a sea of humanity when I arrived. The air smelled of funnel cakes and grilled corn, a sweet and smoky welcome. Laughter from children chasing bubbles, mixed with the jumble of music drifting from different stages. Folk here, jazz there, the distant thumping bass of what might have been reggae. And everywhere, people carrying paper lanterns, waiting for darkness to fall. I bought my lantern from a booth near the entrance. The woman running it, gray-haired with paint under her fingernails, showed me the different designs. Dragons, butterflies, cherry blossoms, plain white ones for the traditionalists. First time? She asked, noting my hesitation. First time in a long time. The lotus ones are popular, she said, pointing to a stack decorated with pink flowers, symbolizes rising above. But my eye had already caught on another design. Cranes. White paper cranes painted along the sides, their wings spread in eternal flight. Just like the one I'd released 25 years ago in San Francisco. I'll take that one, I said. She smiled like she'd known I would. Good choice. Cranes represent loyalty, connection across distance. I traced one wing with my thumb, steadying my nerves. If only she knew. I found a spot on the hill overlooking the main field. Still an hour until the official lighting ceremony, but people were already claiming their territory. Next to me, a family with 3 kids was unpacking what looked like an entire picnic basket. The smell of tamales made my stomach growl. I'd been too nervous to eat lunch, though I couldn't say exactly why I was nervous. Would you like one? I turned. The mother from the family was holding out a foil-wrapped tamale, steam escaping from the top. Oh, I couldn't. Please, I made 3 dozen, my mother's recipe. She always said food tastes better when it's shared. The tamale was perfect. Chicken and green chile, the masa light as clouds. I hadn't realized how hungry I was until the first bite. I'm Maria, the woman said, settling beside me while her husband chased their youngest, who was determined to catch fireflies that weren't there yet. You here alone? Yeah, my daughter had to work. It wasn't exactly a lie. Emma did have to work. She'd also said, Good, Mom, maybe you'll actually talk to someone. The festival's better with people, Maria said. But sometimes alone is good too. Gives you space to think. Or remember, I said without meaning to. She nodded like she understood. You've been before? A long time ago, different city. I looked at my crane lantern, with a friend. Maria didn't push for details, which I appreciated. Instead, she told me about their tradition. Every year since her kids were born, they came to the festival. Each family member wrote a wish. Her oldest, Miguel, always wished for video games. The middle child, Sophia, wished for world peace and puppies, usually in that order. The baby, Luis, just scribbled. What about you? I asked. What do you wish for? Same thing every year, she said, that we'll all be here together to do it again. Simple, beautiful, the kind of wish that mattered. The sun started sinking behind the Sandia Mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink that reminded me of sherbet. More people arrived, filling in the gaps between blankets until the hillside looked like a patchwork quilt made of families and friends and couples, and yes, people alone like me. A band took the main stage. Local folks playing something between country and folk, the kind of music that made you sway without thinking about it. Kids ran between the blankets with glow sticks, leaving trails of light in the gathering dusk. The air smelled like kettle corn and maybe rain, even though the forecast said clear. I pulled out the marker they'd given me with the lantern. Time to write my wish. But what did you wish for at 47? Not the same things you wished for at 22, that was certain. Back then, Jennifer and I had been inseparable. College roommates who'd become best friends, then something more, though we'd never quite defined what that more meant. We'd discovered the Lantern Festival by accident, wandering through Golden Gate Park and stumbling into a celebration we didn't understand but immediately loved. "Make a wish," Jennifer had said, handing me a marker. Her lantern had butterflies on it, because of course it did. She collected butterfly everything. Jewelry, scarves, even a butterfly tattoo on her shoulder that her parents didn't know about. "What are you wishing for?" I'd asked. "Can't tell you. Won't come true." But she'd smiled in that way that meant she'd tell me later. She always did. My wish had been simple. Find me again, Jennifer. Because even then, I'd known our time was running out. She had a job offer in New York. I was staying in California for graduate school. We'd promised to stay in touch, to visit, to not let distance destroy what we'd built. We'd tried. Letters at first, then emails. Phone calls that got shorter and less frequent. 2 years later, she was married to someone named David and living in Connecticut. I was dating a guy named Marcus who'd eventually become Emma's father. Life had happened, the way life does, carrying us in different directions like lanterns on separate winds. "You okay?" A young woman about Emma's age nearby cursed softly under her breath. "Sorry," she said, catching my eye. "I cannot get this stupid fuel thingy to stay put." She was fumbling with her own lantern. Butterflies, I noticed with a jolt. "Here," I said, surprising myself. "Let me see." My fingers, trained from years of handling delicate dental instruments, made quick work of the clip. "There you go." "Oh my gosh, you're a lifesaver. I'm Ashley," she said, grinning with relief. "Mind if I hang here? My friends are all coupled up and being gross." "Rebecca, and sure." Ashley chattered the way 20-somethings do, filling the silence with stories about her coffee shop job, her 3 roommates, and an ex who was emotionally unavailable, which sounded like her generation's way of saying jerk. "What about you?" she asked finally. "What's your story?" "Divorced mom, dental hygienist, exciting stuff." "Come on," she said. "Everyone's got more story than that. Like, what made you come here tonight? Nobody comes to these things without a reason." She was right, of course. But how did you explain a quarter-century-old memory to someone who'd barely been alive that long? "I came with a friend once," I said finally. "We released lanterns and made wishes. I guess I wanted to see if the magic was still here." "And?" I looked around. At Maria's family, now teaching Luis how to hold his marker. At the older couple next to them, holding hands and sharing a thermos of something. At the group of teenagers posing for selfies with their lanterns. At Ashley with her butterfly lantern and eager eyes. "Yeah," I said. "It's still here." The sun disappeared completely, and the festival transformed. String lights came on, creating constellations at ground level. The music shifted to something softer, preparing us for the main event. An announcer took the stage, explaining the tradition of lantern festivals, how they'd started in Asia and spread around the world, each culture adding its own meaning. "In a few minutes, we'll count down together," he said. "But first, take a moment. Think about your wish. Think about what you're releasing into the universe. Think about what you're inviting in." I uncapped my marker. Around me, people bent over their lanterns, writing carefully. Maria's husband helped Luis make crooked letters. Ashley bit her lip in concentration. The elderly couple rode on each other's lanterns, which made my chest tight for reasons I couldn't name. What did I want? Not to go back. I'd learned that was impossible. Not to forget. The memories were too precious. Maybe just connection. To feel less alone in a world that seemed designed for pairs. I wrote, "New friendships, old souls." Simple, true, enough. It wasn't poetry, but it felt right. 10 minutes, the announcer called. The anticipation was palpable. Kids bounced with excitement. Adults checked and rechecked their lanterns, making sure the little fuel cells were properly attached. I'd forgotten this part. The nervous energy before release, everyone connected by the same mixture of hope and fear that our wishes might not fly. "What did you wish for?" Ashley asked, trying to peek at my lantern. "Can't tell you," I said, echoing Jennifer from so long ago. "Won't come true." She grinned. "Fair. But I'll tell you mine after, if you tell me yours." Deal. The countdown began at 60 seconds. The whole hillside joined in, voices mixing languages and ages into one hopeful sound. Maria's kids shouted each number. The elderly couple whispered them. Ashley practically vibrated with excitement. 10, 9, 8. I stood, holding my crane lantern carefully. All around me, thousands of people did the same, creating a forest of paper and wishes. 7, 6, 5. My hands shook slightly. Silly to be nervous. It was just paper and fire and physics, but it felt like more. 4, 3, 2. I thought of Jennifer, wondered where she was. If she ever thought of that night in Golden Gate Park. If she remembered the girl who'd wished to find her again. 1! The sky exploded with light. Thousands of lanterns rose at once, each carrying its small flame upward. The sight was breathtaking, a river of lights flowing toward the stars, wishes made visible against the darkness. Some rose straight, others pinwheeled. A few struggled, needing encouragement from their owners before finding their way. My crane lantern rose steadily, its painted birds seeming to fly in the flickering light. I watched it join the stream, becoming one light among many, until I couldn't tell which was mine anymore. That was part of the magic, I realized. Individual wishes becoming part of something larger. "Oh my gosh," Ashley breathed. "It's even better than Instagram made it look." Maria was crying, happy tears, as she watched her family's lanterns rise together. Her husband had his arm around her, Luis on his shoulders for a better view. Even the teenagers had stopped taking selfies, mesmerized by the sight. For 10 minutes, maybe more, we all just watched. The lanterns rose and spread, carried by winds we couldn't feel from the ground. Some headed east toward the mountains. Others drifted west. A few rebellious ones went north or south, charting their own course. Then I saw her. At first, I thought I was imagining it. The light playing tricks, making me see what I wanted to see. But no. There, maybe 50 feet away, standing alone with her face tilted toward the sky, tracking a butterfly lantern as it rose. 25 years older, but unmistakably Jennifer. I didn't dare blink. My name formed silently before my voice remembered how to work. Her hair was shorter now, silver mixed with the brown I remembered. She wore a jacket that looked expensive, the kind of thing Connecticut Jennifer would own. But the way she stood, weight on one hip, hand absently touching her shoulder, where I knew the butterfly tattoo hid, that was my Jennifer. The breath left my lungs in a silent rush. I couldn't move. The noise of the festival, the music, the laughter, faded to a distant hum. Around me, the world continued, but I might as well have been frozen in amber. Then she turned, her gaze sweeping the crowd as if she was looking for someone. Her eyes passed over me, kept going, then snapped back, widening in disbelief. The recognition was instant. Her hand flew to her mouth. She took a step forward, then stopped, uncertain. We stared at each other across 25 years and 50 feet of New Mexico grass. I raised my hand in a tiny wave, the same wave I used to give her across the library when we were supposed to be studying. She laughed. I couldn't hear it over the crowd, but I saw her shoulders shake, saw her wipe at her eyes. Then she was walking toward me, and I was walking toward her, and people were probably wondering why two middle-aged women were stumbling through the crowd like they were in some kind of movie. But I didn't care. "Becca?" Her voice was exactly the same. How was that possible? "Hi, Jennifer. I can't. How are you? What are you doing here?" "I live here, in Albuquerque. Have for 10 years. I was babbling. "What about you? I thought you were in Connecticut." I am. I'm here for a conference. Saw a flyer for the festival and thought..." She gestured helplessly at the sky. "I remembered our night in San Francisco." "Me too." We stood there, drinking each other in. The lines around her eyes were new, but they were laugh lines. Good. Her butterfly lantern was still visible, climbing steadily. "This is crazy," she said. "Completely crazy." "I looked for you," she said in a rush, "online, but there are a million Rebecca Martinez's." "I looked for you too. Found your LinkedIn. You're a lawyer now?" "Corporate law, thrilling stuff," she made a face. "You?" "Dental hygienist. Equally thrilling." We laughed, and suddenly the awkwardness broke. This was Jennifer. My Jennifer. Time had changed us both, but the core was the same. "Are you here with anyone?" she asked, glancing around. "No, you?" "No, David and I divorced 5 years ago." She said it matter-of-factly, but I caught the flash of old pain. "You married Marcus?" "For a while. We've been divorced 2 years, but I got a great daughter out of it." "Kids?" Her smile was wistful. "That's wonderful. David and I it didn't work out." The crowd was starting to disperse, the lanterns now distant lights indistinguishable from stars, but neither of us moved. "Do you want to get coffee?" I asked. "Or tea, or wine, or literally anything that involves sitting and talking?" "Yes," she said immediately. "Absolutely, yes." We found an all-night diner, the kind that serves breakfast 24 hours and doesn't judge you for ordering pancakes at 10 p.m. The booth was cracked vinyl and the coffee was terrible, but it was perfect. "Tell me everything," Jennifer said, wrapping her hands around her mug. "Start from the day I left for New York." So I did. Grad school, meeting Marcus, Emma's birth, the slow dissolution of my marriage, the move to Albuquerque for a fresh start. The years of single motherhood, rewarding and exhausting in equal measure. The quiet life I'd built, safe and stable, and a little bit lonely. She told me her story, too. The big law firm job that consumed her 20s, meeting David at a company party, the fairy tale wedding that had felt more like a business merger, years of trying to have children, each failure driving another wedge between them. The affair he'd had with a paralegal, cliché but still devastating. The house in Connecticut she'd kept but never felt at home in. "I'm sorry," I said, "about all of it." "Don't be. It was life. It happened." She stirred her coffee absently. "But I did always wonder, what if I'd stayed in California?" "We can't think like that," I said, even though I'd thought it 1,000 times. "Can't we, just for tonight?" Our food arrived. Pancakes for me, an omelet for her, both of us pretending we were hungrier than we were just to have an excuse to stay longer. We talked about safer things for a while. Her work with a nonprofit on the side. Emma's college plans. The books we'd read, the places we'd traveled, the ways we'd changed, and the ways we'd stayed the same. "I kept your letters," she said suddenly. "Every one." Something unclenched in me I didn't know was tight. "Really?" "In a box in my closet. David used to tease me about it, said I was too sentimental." She smiled sadly. Should have been a red flag. Who makes fun of someone for being sentimental? "Marcus threw mine out," I admitted. during one of our moves, said we didn't have room for old papers. I'm sorry. It's okay. I remember them anyway. We were quiet for a moment, the diner noise filling the space between us. Somewhere a jukebox was playing old country songs. The waitress refilled our coffee without asking. I wrote something on my lantern tonight, Jennifer said. Want to know what? Tell me. Find her again. She looked at me steadily. I've been writing the same thing for 25 years, every time I see a shooting star or blow out birthday candles. Stupid, right? I wrote, Find me again, Jennifer, on mine that night in San Francisco, I said. Tonight I wrote new friendships, old souls. Did it work? The wish? I looked at her, really looked. The girl I'd loved was still there, layered under the woman she'd become. We weren't 22. We couldn't pick up exactly where we'd left off, but maybe we could start something new. Something that honored who we'd been while acknowledging who we were. I think it did, I said. She reached across the table and took my hand. Her fingers were cold from the coffee mug, but her grip was warm and sure. Reality nudged the booth, practical as a check presenter. Neither of us reached for it. I fly home tomorrow, she said. Afternoon flight. My heart sank. Of course, real life, conferences and flights and 2-hour time difference. But, she continued, I work remotely half the time now, and I have about 1 million vacation days saved up, and there's nothing keeping me in Connecticut except stubbornness. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe I could visit, see Albuquerque properly, meet Emma, figure out... She waved her free hand vaguely. Whatever this is? I'd like that, I said. Understatement of the century. We stayed until the diner staff started giving us looks. 4 hours of coffee and conversation, trying to bridge 25 years in one night. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was a start. Jennifer drove me back to my car at the festival grounds. The park was empty now except for maintenance crews collecting lantern debris. Amazing how a place that had held so much magic could look so ordinary. This is surreal, she said, putting the car in park. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up. I know. I mean it about visiting. Give me your number, your real number, not your work one. We exchanged phones, programming numbers with the kind of care usually reserved for handling explosives. When I handed hers back, she was smiling at the contact name I'd chosen. Butterfly Girl. Crane Woman, she read from my phone. I like it. CW for Crane Woman felt right. We sat there, neither wanting to be the first to leave. Finally, Jennifer laughed. We're being ridiculous. We're adults. We have phones, email, video chat. It's not like it was before. You're right, but I didn't move. I'll text you when I land tomorrow. We'll make a plan. Okay. Becca? Yeah? I'm really glad I came tonight. To the festival, I mean. I almost didn't. The conference people wanted to do a group dinner, and I kissed her. Just leaned across the console and kissed her like no time had passed. Like we weren't in a rental car in an empty parking lot. Like we hadn't spent 25 years becoming different people. She made a small sound of surprise, then kissed me back, her hand coming up to cup my cheek. When we broke apart, we were both breathless. Okay, she said. So that's still... Okay. Yeah. Good to know. We laughed, teenagers in middle-aged bodies, giddy with possibility. This time when I reached for the door handle, I meant it. Text me tomorrow. I will. Promise? Promise. No more lost years, Becca. I watched her drive away, taillights disappearing into the Albuquerque night. Then I sat in my own car for a while, trying to process what had just happened. The festival, the wish, finding Jennifer in a crowd of thousands. The kiss that suggested maybe some things don't expire, just hibernate. My phone buzzed, a text from Emma. How was the festival? Meet anyone interesting? I laughed out loud. You could say that, I typed back. Tell you tomorrow. Another buzz, unknown number, but the message made my heart skip. Made it back to the hotel, already counting hours until my flight. Sending you 25 years of missed goodnights. BG. Butterfly Girl. Good night, Butterfly Girl, I whispered to the windshield, and the city felt smaller. I drove home through quiet streets, the radio playing something soft and forgettable. In my mind, I was already composing the email I'd send tomorrow, the plans we'd make, the conversations we'd have. The future felt suddenly expansive, full of possibility I hadn't let myself imagine in years. Back at my house, I found the photo I'd been thinking of earlier. College-era Becca and Jennifer at Ocean Beach, arms around each other, squinting in the sun. I'd kept it hidden in a jewelry box, too precious to display, too painful to throw away. Now I propped it on my dresser where I'd see it every morning. My laptop dinged, an email from Jennifer. Couldn't wait until tomorrow, attaching something I've been carrying in my wallet for 25 years. Fair warning, we were babies. The attachment was a photo I'd never seen. Us at the Lantern Festival, faces illuminated by the paper lanterns we held. Someone must have taken it for us. I had a vague memory of asking a stranger. We looked so young, so certain that we had all the time in the world. P.S., her email continued, I know we can't go back, but maybe we can go forward. I'd like to try if you would. I typed back, yes, to all of it, yes. Then I went out to my backyard where the stars were brilliant in the high desert sky. Somewhere up there, our lanterns were still flying, wishes written in smoke and fire and hope. Or maybe they'd landed already. Paper shells in someone's yard, their work complete. It didn't matter. The wishes had already come true. I pictured next October on that hill. Emma beside me, Maria's family with their quilt of blankets, Ashley with a new butterfly, and Jennifer laughing in the New Mexico dusk. Find me again, Jennifer. Found. New friendships, old souls. Both, somehow. It was both impossibly simple and profoundly miraculous. An old soul connection that had never really broken, just stretched across time and distance until the universe, in its own time, decided to gently pull the thread taut again. I thought about Maria from the festival, her simple wish to gather again next year. About Ashley with her butterfly lantern and her 20-something optimism. About all the people who'd released their hopes into the night, trusting that somewhere, somehow, someone was listening. Tomorrow, Jennifer would fly back to Connecticut. But she'd also start planning a return trip. We'd talk every day, filling in the gaps, learning who we'd become. It wouldn't be easy. Real life never is. But tonight had proven that some things are worth the effort, worth the risk, worth the wait. 25 years was a long time to hold on to a wish. But standing there under the New Mexico stars, phone in my hand and hope in my heart, I knew it had been worth every single day. Because the best wishes, the ones that matter, they don't have expiration dates. They just wait, patient as paper cranes, until the wind is right for flying. Somewhere in the dark, I could almost hear paper wings. And finally, the wind was right. I went inside, already composing my next email to Jennifer. So much to say, so much time to make up for. But we'd start with something simple. Good night, Butterfly Girl. See you in my dreams, and soon, see you in person. CW. The Lantern Festival had done its job. It had lifted our wishes and carried them home. The rest? That was up to us. But I had a feeling we were ready. After all, we'd been preparing for 25 years.